In Philadelphia, in February of 1957, a man went out to check some rabbit traps he put out. He spotted a box. Inside, he noticed the body of a child wrapped in a plaid blanket. He was scared to report it to the police, so he just panicked and left. A few days later, a kid was driving down the road when he seen a rabbit run into the bushes. He pulled over to check it out and discovered the boy in the box. He was too panicked and just left. The next day, February 25th, 1957, Mary Jane Barker made the news as a missing child from Belmar, New Jersey, right across the bridge from Philly. When the college kid heard about it, he decided to call the cops and tell him what he found, thinking it might be the little girl. When the police arrived, they discovered the boy was naked, wrapped in the blanket, and was placed in a bassinet box. His hair had recently been cut, as clumps of it still hung to his head. He had surgical scars on his ankle and groin, and a scar in the shape of an L under his chin. He was severely malnourished. Only things detectives were able to find at the crime scene were a white handkerchief with the letter G on it, a blue corduroy cap, and a kid's scarf. Police attempted to identify the boy by taking his fingerprints. They also sent out flyers with everybody's gas bill asking for information on who the boy might be. The case gained mass media attention, and the city of Philly always kept him close to their heart. Theories began to circulate, but nothing ever panned out. In 1960, a psychic led cops to a foster home ran by a man with his stepdaughter. It was alleged that there was a bassinet in the foster home like the box the boy was found in. There was also blankets similar to the one that the boy was wrapped in. The police went to check it out, but all the kids in their care were accounted for. In 1998, the case was reopened and the body was exhumed for DNA testing. The foster dad and his stepdaughter, who were now married, were interviewed, and again it was a dead end. They stopped further investigating the foster home. The boy's body was moved to Ivy Hill Cemetery and a large plot was donated. The headstone read, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." In 2008, Frank Bender, a forensic artist, made an up to date sketch of the boy. He believed that due to his haircut and his eyebrows being done, that he must have been raised as a girl. He did a sketch with him having longer hair, the same length as the strands found on his body. In March of 2016, a forensic facial reconstruction was created of the boy. Also, in 2016, two writers thought they identified the family of the boy. But DNA that was took from one of the supposed relatives led to no connection. And in 2019, his body was exhumed again for more DNA testing. And finally, after 65 years, on December 8th, 2022, the baby boy was finally identified to the public as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born January 13th, 1953, making him only 4 years old at the time of death. His parents' names were found on his birth certificate, both of which have already passed. On January 13th, 2023, what would have been Joseph Zarelli's 70th birthday, a new tombstone was placed with his full name and a picture. Although he was identified, the investigation just begun into what actually happened to him. Now, earlier, I mentioned Mary Jane Barker, who went missing February 25th, 1957. I thought you might be interested in what happened to her, too. Mary Jane was dog sitting for her friend Maria. She went to return the dog, but she never made it to Maria's house. The same night, a 200-man search went out looking for her, but they didn't find her. 6 days later, on March 3rd, Maria and her mom went to the abandoned house next door to them. Mary Jane's body was found in a closet. The dog was in there as well, and he was still alive. Due to the dog not using the bathroom in the closet, the cops felt that they were both just placed in there recently. But after there was investigation and an autopsy, it was revealed she was trapped in the closet. They found scratch marks on the inside, which indicated that she tried to get out. The lock on the door was old school, so if you got trapped in there, there was no possible way to get out. Mary Jane wasn't abused or essayed. The baby girl was just trapped and passed away from starvation. Sadly, she was there on her fourth birthday, which was February 28th, 1957. Because of her death, a law was made to ensure closets have a doorknob on both sides of the door, so something this horrendous never happens again. It is so sad that both of these 4-year-old babies passed away so tragically. I couldn't imagine how that area felt at the time. I am so happy that Joseph Sorelli was finally identified because it bothered me. One of my favorite shows, Cold Case, was based in Philly, and they had their own version of Boy in the Box. Of course, it's fiction, and they did solve the case because that's the show. So, way before he was even identified, they came up with their own scenario. Because he had surgery marks on his body and a quick haircut, they said that he was a nun's child. Nuns are not supposed to have children. The nun worked in a facility as a place that held orphans until they were adopted. The nun's son was placed with the other kids. He never knew the nun was his mother. He was a troubled kid and couldn't get adopted. So they cut his hair and tried to perform a lobotomy in the hopes that it would make his behavior better so he could get adopted. I immediately went on Google and did searches about him, and I was so intrigued with who this little boy was and why no family ever reported him missing nor looked for him. I know that too many years have passed, but I hope and pray they found out what happened to this little boy. Because just like Philly does, I have a spot in my heart for him too. And I really want to know what happened to him and who did this. But I might just have to accept the fact that we will never know. Mary Jane Barker's tragic ending broke my heart too. That poor baby girl tried to fight her way out of that closet. I couldn't imagine the terror in that baby's heart. May Mary Jane Barker and Joseph Augustus Sorelli rest in peace, little pumpkins. You must have been something special for God to want you back so soon. And if you made it to the end, thank you so much. I truly do appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day and God bless.